Well, if you wanted to learn how to remove a sink faucet, a kitchen sink faucet, you're in luck, because that's what this video is about. So stick around. Knockety knock. Hey. Oh, that's right. My auntie, she just left and she's got an issue. Look at this. I brought all my tools in. I'm over at Mother's house and Auntie lives fairly close by. So I brought some stuff here and her faucet is leaking. The cleaner was over here. Notice some water was going in through here and I've got to replace it. And my cousin, she just happened to be here. She ran down to the hardware store and she got this kitchen faucet right here. It looks pretty cool too. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. If that's what you want to watch, hey, that's what this video is all about. Now before I get started, yes, I've got my my work shirt here, my back support brace here. I've got some goggles, some this here. I'm going to use that. And my cousin, she had a few tools here. Scissors, I don't know what that's for. Look, pipe wrench for plumbing. And you know what? I haven't used one of these in years. I don't think I will. Vice grips, I may end up using Teflon tape. Yeah, I probably might use that. Okay. And when I'm at Mother's, I've got different things here that I keep at Mother's house. It's not my general tools, but here I've got quite a few different things in there. I've got this bag here. I've got some other things in here, a wrench and a plumber's tool thing. I think. Well, I'll have to. Oh, here it is. You see there? And this end does that and swivels up and stuff. And I might end up using that. Okay. And I've got some other stuff in there. And you know, I've got my trusty trouble light, my knee pad. I've got some drills here. I don't think I'm going to use any drills. My cleaning solution and different things like that. I might end up using that. I have no idea exactly what I'm going to use. Okay, but I thought I'd be prepared rather than not, because I don't want to have to run back to Mother's house and get anything else that I forgot or something. And let me tell you, I dread the fact I'm not a plumber, okay? But I've replaced faucets before, kitchen faucets, bathroom faucets, utility, sink faucets, that kind of stuff. I don't do it every day, you know? I've maybe replaced on a kitchen faucet like this, maybe 15 in my entire life. Maybe 15. Okay, so I'm making this video series or this long video, however you find it on my channel, okay, showing you, giving you the confidence of knowing, hey, Video Joe, why is he doing that? He's not even a professional plumber. Why am I listening to this guy ramble on and on about this sink faucet and how he's going to install it and all that kind of stuff? Why don't I just learn from a professional? Well, you probably, here's a news flash. You probably want to learn from an average Joe, such as Video Joe, because if Video Joe can do it, you can do it. Okay, that's what my videos on my YouTube channel are all about. That happens to do with also include kitchen sinks, faucets. Okay, so please stick around and watch this video series so that you can install one of these too. Okay, removing an old kitchen faucet, yeah, you should be able to do that. Just because you don't know how to install one, yes, if you know how to remove one, chances are you're going to be able to install a new one, such as this, okay? And they all pretty much go in about the same, but I never know what I'm going to come up against. I didn't plan this out. I got a call late yesterday afternoon, early evening. Hey, Video Joe, can you come over here? We've got an issue with the sink faucet. Can you come and do your magic? Okay, so off I went, video camera in hand. Now, just to go a little bit further on watching this video series and me thinking that you can probably install one of these too, okay? How much do you think you might save of being able to install one of these on your own without calling a plumber? I'm guessing, this is just a guess, I'm pretty good at guessing. I'm guessing if you called a plumbing company to come out here, they're probably going to charge you maybe $350 for just their labor. Now, if you want them to go buy you a sink faucet too, you're going to have to pay for them to run to the store, get your faucet, and however much this costs, they're probably going to charge you 20% on top of that for their overhead and profit margin. And once they get all done, they're probably going to include overhead and profit too. So maybe $350 is too. It's not enough, you know, maybe, I don't know, but hey, if you can save $350 on here, or even $250, $275, $300, wouldn't you be interested in knowing how to do it yourself? If you thought you could do it, wouldn't you want to watch somebody install one of these and give you the confidence in knowing that, hey, I might as well try to figure out how to install one of these on my own, okay? And of course, every single one comes with directions, and of course, every single one seems to have their own direction sheet. And just because you installed one of these years ago doesn't mean this one is going to be installed exactly in the same format, in the exact same steps as your last one. They always have new fangled gadgets. See here, here's an end, here's a funky end, here's a long thing with this on the end, and here's a tool here. Here's the bottom bracket. You can install it with or without the bottom bracket, and you just have to look at each one. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start unpackaging this, looking at the directions. Be mindful of all the different things that are going to go on with this, because hey, I installed something like this maybe a year and a half ago, but I'm still going to read the directions step by step, because there's always going to be something that you're going to miss if you don't read the instructions, okay? It's just how it works. I had to chuckle too. My cousin, she says, "Oh, I put a pillow in a plastic bag so you can put that down as you're crawling around." I thought that makes sense. I've never even thought about that. Usually I use my my knee pad, but I'll probably have my knee pad out here. I might put the pillow in there or something. You want to make sure. Now see this here, there's only one cabinet door for this whole thing, okay? And before I get started, see this door only opens so far, and it springs. And you might think, oh, I'll leave it. I'm never gonna hit that. Well, I'm gonna end up taking this off. It's got the concealed hinges. This one only happens to have one screw at both locations. So all I have to do is undo 2 screws and pull that off, and I'm good to go. Gives me a little bit more room to maneuver around in there. And I always like to bring, well, either a trouble light. See, I've got a trouble light. I don't have my construction light. If I had my construction light, I'd set that up here too and stuff, but I'll end up putting my trouble light down there. And you always want to clean out everything underneath your kitchen sink. Now she's got some stuff here. Here's some other stuff. I think there's some other things in here, so I'm gonna do a little bit better job and get more stuff out of here and get all set up to go before I do anything, and get my back support brace on. I'm probably gonna put my long sleeve sweatshirt on. Sometimes that protects my arms from getting all nicked up and stuff like that. Okay, be ready. That's all I can say. Be ready for your project, for whatever may come up, because there's only one door here, there's a lot going on underneath this sink. Look how big this cast iron sink is. It's got two container areas here, so that fills up this area quite a bit. There's a sink drain from the one side. There's a garbage disposal down there. There's a trap underneath that. I'm gonna have to crawl on my back, shimmy underneath the garbage disposal, look straight up. And can you see, by having to do all that kind of stuff, I need to have my goggles on. So hey, this might be the important the most important thing in the project is to have some protective eyewear on, because as you're upside down, you don't want stuff to get in your eyes and all that, okay? And depending, here's some other things to consider. Depending how old this is, now this one is about 20, at least 20 years old. Now, if yours is older than that, or even this old, I'm guessing at how rusty the nuts and bolts are underneath here, how hard it's going to be. Sometimes the hardest part of the project is to get the old sink faucet off. So there's a few things to consider, okay, when you're getting ready to install a faucet, and when you're thinking, hey, do I think I can do this? Yeah, I think I can. VideoJoe's given me the inspiration of knowing that I can do it too. Just because I'm an average Joe doesn't mean I can't do it. Just like VideoJoe, he's going to be able to do this. And so that's where I'm going to watch this, pick up tips and tricks along the way to see how he installs it. Now, do I know exactly all the things that are going to come up on this project? No, I don't. Like I said, I kind of dread having to do kitchen sink faucets for a couple different reasons. A lot of times you try to turn the gate valves off, the hot and cold water, and if the gate valves are really super old and you try to turn it off, maybe it doesn't turn off all the way. And so when you undo the lines, you got water coming out of there. Be prepared for something like that. Or maybe you try to open the gate valve and it's on a plastic neck, and you're trying to turn that and the plastic little rod snaps off. Now you can't turn the water off, so now you gotta find the main water line that's coming into your house so you can shut that off. I already located where that is in the garage. I talked to my cousin about that. She told me exactly where it was, so I'm prepared for that. I'm hoping that's not going to happen on this project. But if I open the valves and stuff and I turn the water on, if the water's still coming out, even dripping, I may just turn the water off and be done with it to the whole house. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to get it drip, 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 and that kind of stuff. And pulling everything apart, putting everything back together. Do I know exactly how long this is going to take and what types of things I'm going to run into? Not exactly. I kind of have an idea because I've done it before, but every job is a little bit different, okay? So do I think I can do it? Yeah, I think I can do it. I know I can do it. Do I still feel butterflies in my stomach thinking, oh brother, I don't want to have to do this. I was dreading this. Yes, I still got butterflies in my stomach. You'll get them too because you're not a professional plumber, okay? But don't pay $350, $400 to replace this, okay? Go out to the store and buy something like this. This one here, I didn't ask her how much it cost. My guess is it's probably less than $200. It might be $149 or less, okay? But it could be more because this is a Moen. This is one of the top brands, okay? And they have different ones. I'm not telling you to get a Moen exactly like this one or anything like that, okay? Look at the hardware store. They have all kinds of different ones and stuff. And use your good judgment. If you got any questions, you can always talk to a salesperson at the hardware store. Take a picture of your old faucet before you go there. Show the salesperson in the plumbing department, okay, this is the faucet that I have, and I need something like that, and what do you have, and give me some ideas of what I can do, okay? Now this one happens to be white. I kind of like the white because the whole kitchen area is white. You got white refrigerator, you've got white doors, white trim, white cabinets, white toaster even, white front on the dishwasher, white front on the refrigerator, white front on the microwave, white front on the oven. Are you getting the theme here? White handles on the cabinets. You don't have a whole lot of stainless steel on here, but they like this one, and they're going to put this stainless steel one in. Now there are some stainless steel accessories. Here's a can opener, stainless steel. Here's some stainless steel. Here's a little bit of stainless steel. What other stainless steel can we see? Here's the stainless steel grab bar or towel bar, and I happen to see it's loose, and I'll probably have to take care of that and tighten up an Allen set screw on there. What else in here is stainless steel? Here, we got this stainless steel here. You look over here. We've got a stainless steel teapot. Oh, that's nice. Here's stainless steel, a little bit right there. Here's some more stainless steel. Okay, so do you have to get a white one? No, they didn't happen to have a white one exactly like this. And so they decided to get this one. Okay, so that's the one we're gonna do. And you might say, okay, well, what's this here? Are you going to take this out? Well, this happens to be an aerator. This is for the garbage disposal. Okay, and that's connected up to the dishwasher so that your dishwasher drains properly. Now, if that bothers you, you might be able to pop this off, and you might be able to take this to the store, and you might be able to purchase just a separate one of these that's stainless steel. Make sure it's the very same size. You might be able to pop that on. The only thing that's going to be white is your plastic nut on the bottom. Or maybe you take the nut off. Maybe you can get a stainless plastic coated one that looks like stainless steel, and it'd be stainless steel all the way. And then you can snap it on. Okay, you can do that. For the time being, she's just going to leave that. Now, if you wanted, if this happens to come with a handheld soap dispenser, you don't want your soap dispenser anymore, guess what? You could probably take that down, disconnect it, and hook it up a different way underneath the sink. Did you know there's, per code, you can do it as long as you have it coming up higher than your drain and back down, looped over here. That causes an air gap in there in the drain pipe. Did you know that? And if you wanted to do that, there's ways to do that, and you could put a soap dispenser there if you wanted. You could purchase a soap dispenser separately. Sometimes they come with your sink faucets. You get the sink faucet and a little handheld or a soap dispenser, and you can place that in with the plastic bottle underneath, and then you could do away with this type of stuff. You see what I mean? Okay, that's enough for now. I'm gonna get everything out from the cabinet. I'm gonna move a few different things and get ready for my project. Hope you're still around, because you're gonna learn a lot on this video series. Okay, I got everything moved. I'm taking you off the tripod now, and I've taken the cabinet door off. And I went ahead and put the 2 screws back in so I didn't lose the screws. I got this all cleaned out. And I'll wipe this one time to make sure there's no water in there. Got my trouble light on the ready. And I told you there was a garbage disposal here. See, I hardly have any room, huh? This drain is coming right down the middle. I can't crawl in that way. I'm going to have to crawl in off to the right and off to the left underneath the garbage disposal. So I'm going to have to unplug the garbage disposal because I don't want that wire in my way, wrap it all up, and I'll just have to scope out kind of what I have and look up in here and stuff. And I'm getting ready to do my next step, and I'm glad to see that the water valves have small threads. Going into it right here. Okay, and most of them do. There's some that don't, and if not, then you're going to have to figure out how to get some adapters and stuff, because these long pipes that come in here, they hook up, and they happen to be the small threads and the small size diameter. See, for this, if your water valve has it bigger than this, you're going to have to get an adapter, because this is how most of them come nowadays. Okay, and I'm glad to see that. I was pretty sure that was going to happen. Okay, so hey, one step at a time. I always tell people, hey, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you do anything DIY, no matter what it has to do with, including a kitchen sink faucet? One step at a time. That's what we're doing right now. Now obviously I may have a good idea of what to do and all that kind of stuff. I'm not even looking at this right now. I could open this up, read the directions and all that kind of stuff. You may want to do that first before you even decide to take your water faucet off. If you happen to see that there's certain things that you still need to get at the store, and if your sink faucet is still working, maybe you don't want to disconnect it right now. Maybe you want to run to the store and make sure you got all your parts. Maybe you want to wait until the weekend to do it or something like that. Don't get this all pulled apart and then find out, oh shoot, I can't finish and the store's getting ready to close because I was going to do this after work. It was getting late, and now here it is 10 o'clock. The hardware store's not open. Now I can't finish the job until tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm working all day, and then I've got to stop by and get the parts for tomorrow night. Now you've got your sink faucet not being used for a whole day in case somebody else in the household needs to use it for the following day. You see what I mean? Get ready for your project. All right. Okay, so for my next step, what was my next step? I'm gonna unplug the garbage disposal, tie up that. I'm gonna turn the hot and cold water valves off underneath the sink, and then I'm gonna lift this up and make sure. See, right now the water's still on. I'm gonna make sure that the hot and cold are shut off all the way, and it's not dripping and it's not trickling out and all that kind of stuff. That's my next step. One step at a time. We'll get her. Okay, now here's something I want you to be aware of. Before you disconnect, before you unplug the garbage disposal, you're gonna have to make sure you see which plug outlet you're undoing, so that when you put it back in, you put it in the same one. Because generally, they've got that hooked up to a light switch, wall switch. One of these is the garbage disposal. Let's just hit it and see. See? Okay, we know it's working and everything. And right now, that switch generally only controls the top part of that. The bottom one should be hot at all times. You got to remember that, so you don't re-plug it in and scare yourself half to death plugging it into the bottom and having the garbage disposal go on and think, oh man, what happened? You got to remember that. Sometimes electricians may just hook up that entire outlet to a wall switch. Well, that's not right either, because generally your dishwasher usually has a long electrical cord to it that comes out through the side and comes through the hole and comes over here and gets plugged in. Well, this one doesn't. You see, that's the drain line, the white line that goes up to the air gap, and then you got a black pipe that comes over to the garbage disposal. Okay, that's for your air gap. Okay, and then that copper pipe comes over and goes to that. See, there's a separate gate valve. That's nice. They put a separate water gate valve for the dishwasher. Now the electrical on it, they might have done this differently. If you take the toe kick out, there might be an electrical outlet junction box in the back of that, or it could be hardwired into a metal box. Either way, the electrical, we know, is not over here, so it's somewhere over there, and my guess is they still wired up that electrical outlet to have the power on at the bottom. Okay, and I don't really care. Okay, I've just pointed it out to you. All right. Okay, I've got the water shut off. Haven't touched this yet. Let's see. Okay, we got her off. Okay, and funny thing, this house was built a little over 20 years ago, and I noticed it's got the plastic piping in the back. It's not copper piping. That one's white, and this one happens to be red. You can't really see it, but it makes these pipes kind of tinny and flimsy from the wall. So I gotta prepare myself for that. So before I undo this nut here, I want to make sure I kind of hold on to that with my hand nice and firm before I get there. And sometimes it makes it easier just to undo the handle, and that way you can get your wrench in there nice and easy, and then you just pull that out. You can remember which direction that goes, like that, or it can be straight up and down or whatever. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to take those off. Okay, just the one screw, and then this just slides off, a little spline, and just so that those are out of the way. I've got those off nice and snug. Got this tight in there. Okay, the extension cord for the garbage disposal, and I'm all set to go. I don't think I need to undo the trap or anything. I can get in there on the right side or the left side if I need to, and I think I'm good to go. And I'll put my construction light just off to the side, you know. And I liked the idea that my cousin said she just put a pillow in a plastic bag. That way I can kind of put it in there. It's going to be a little awkward to get on it and get finagled on there, but it might be a little bit more comfortable if not. In fact, she's got a couple extra knee pads like this. I got this one from my mom's place, and then I can put that in there, lean on that, and then if I want one down here, I can lean on that. So I don't know if I'm actually going to use that, but I kind of like the idea. I've got some rags here in case I need them, and that. So, okay, is there anything I've shown you so far that you don't think you can do yourself? I don't think so. I think you can do this by Joe. Okay, I got those off. See, there's just splines on the inside of that. The hot and cold, okay, they should be the same. All right, so now I'm going to shimmy back there, and then I'm going to turn this back on after I get under there on my back so I can shine it up there to see how we're going to disconnect this. Are all sink faucets created the same? Not really. You just got to cross your fingers and hope that you got one that don't have rusty parts up there and a nut that you can't get to properly with all your tools you got. Because here it is. This is what I've got. I've got that. I've got a couple tools in there and a crescent wrench and a couple other things. I've got these tools. That's all I got. I'm not going to the store. I'm not going to the store. I'm getting it done with the tools that I have, okay? Now bear with me. I'm trying to hold the light in one hand and the video camera, and I'm not joking. I barely got under here. I've got the trap right at my throat, and I'm hoping to be able to do this, but there's one nut up there, and it looks like that's all I have to undo. That one nut, unscrew this, take that off, that nut, and then there's a nut all the way up there off of a washer that's holding that, and that's it. And it happens to be a 3-hole sink. In the 3-hole sink, you see that hole? There's a hole there, then there's a hole where the plumbing pipes come through, and then there's another hole over there, and then you've got the air gap. So that's a 4-hole sink. And so we know we're going to have to put the base on in order to cover those other holes, okay, after we pull it apart. Okay, so obviously I can't show you this next part because I'm under here. And I'm going to undo that black nut there, get this out of the way. And then I'm going to have to, there's a quick disconnect on that, somehow to get that off. And take that other nut off. And then I should be able to pull everything up, and that's also I have to undo these. Remember, I got to undo those. That's the hot water side, and with just a little crescent wrench, righty tighty, lefty loosey. As you're looking at that, you look at that, and the nut is going to go from here that way. That's left. Same thing with the other one over here. Okay, righty tighty, lefty loosey. I'm going to hold on to that with the palm of my hand too as I'm undoing that, and it should come off nice and fine. These are, like I said, these are plastic lines, water lines, and they're flexible enough. Just be careful of that. And see on this, see this neck of the valves is plastic. Most of them are plastic. I hate that. Why do they do that? And if you're faucet is older than 20 years old. This could be really stiff plastic, and as you turn the handle, try to turn it off or try to turn it back on, it could snap off. I've seen that happen. If you ever have to do that, I would get a different valve that just is a quarter turn. Quarter turn on, quarter turn off. It's almost kind of like a gas valve, but it's designed for water. I've installed those. Those are pretty slick. Okay, so I got to shimmy under here again and get this thing disconnected. That cracks me up. Who even uses a pipe wrench nowadays for anything like this? Probably nobody. But this could come in handy for certain things, but probably not underneath the sink. And there's some vice grips. What other things might I use? Here we go. Got a pair of pliers. Here's another set of vice grips I just happen to have. Here's a smaller one. This one could come in handy. This could be my tool. Here's another set of vice grips with the tip. That might be the tool that I need today. Here's a couple crescent wrench. Usually I carry kind of a small crescent wrench too, and I'm not sure if I have another size, but I can use those, and I don't think I have a smaller one in there. I should remember that. Note to self, get a small little crescent wrench. I use that thing all the time at home at the other one I have. And then here's the plumbing. Here's the plumbing one. See? You can turn that, and then this thing swivels both directions and opens up. And then you've got that down there. I might use that for that top nut. It just depends. And I've used every single one of these things before. I used to also have another pair of vice grips. Actually, I have them at home. Look just like this, except a big pair like that. And I've used those before too, for a sink, faucet, to replace the valve cartridge inside a sink faucet handle. And if I didn't have a pair of those, I wouldn't have been able to do the job. Okay, so certain things like that, yes, you're going to have to invest in a few tools, but here's a good thing. When you start doing stuff on your own, you can start investing in bits and pieces of tools, because now you're not having to pay a professional to do stuff. Here, if you save $350 for your labor, or $300 for labor, maybe you need $45 worth of tools, and now it costs you $45 to install this. Do you see what I'm saying? But yet you save that additional money because you didn't have to pay somebody to do that, and you've got all these things for your next project and your next project and your next project. They don't have to be plumbing projects. They can be whatever. Now you've got a few tools. Now you got a few things here. Now you've got a drill. Now you've got an extension cord. Now you got a hacksaw. Now you got a nail bag. Now you got a hammer. Now you got this stuff here. You see what I mean? You start accumulating stuff as you go, because why? You're saving money by doing it yourself. Oh, that's funny too. It cracks me up too. Just because you're doing it yourself, don't forget, there's always going to be times you're going to learn things along the way. There's always certain things that, had you done it a different way, you wouldn't have messed up, you wouldn't have done this, and it wouldn't cost you this stuff here. And if you would have only known not to touch that and tighten that up and not tighten it up too tight and this, that, and the other thing, and use Teflon tape or not use Teflon tape. And you learn all those types of things as you go along. You're going to learn as you go, not everything that you've done. The very first time I did something, did I do it exactly like a professional plumber? No. Here's the 15th one that I'm doing. Am I going to do it exactly like a professional plumber? Maybe not. But you start learning bits and pieces. There's only going to be so much that you're going to learn reading out of a book. There's only going to be so much you're going to learn watching my videos. Only so much you're going to learn by watching somebody else's videos. Only so much you're going to learn by watching a professional plumber videos, if you can find them. Okay? Only so much you're going to learn on anything until you go out there, get your hands dirty, and get on with it. And start learning by doing. That's just how it works. Okay, I got everything disconnected from underneath. You might wonder, what the heck is this, Joe? Well, this needs to be put on there It's just a weight, so that if you have one that pulls in and out, you put this on your hose down there in a place where it's not going to hit any other pipes and stuff and reroute all your stuff properly. This just helps pull that hose back down into there. And sometimes these have a screw on there and you could screw them together. Well, this one happens to have this little clip right there. See, there's one there and one on the other side. And you unclip it and then it pulls apart and then you snap it back and that kind of thing. And lucky for me, it was just this here was holding it snapped up there. That was the nut I had to get. And I used my trusty little vice grips, my small vice grips right there. And I was able to undo it. This was just hand tight. And this thing snapped in. I'll show you when I pull this out. And we'll talk about this a little bit because it wasn't actually leaking from here. Sometimes faucets might leak, and it might be when you pull this out, this nut right here might just need to be tightened, because a lot of times I've seen this leak and people don't know it because it's like that. They turn the water on and it's dripping. I've had that happen a couple different times when I used to live in Maui. I pull this out, tighten that up, okay, you're good to go. And that's all it was. But this happened to be leaking around the edge, and this didn't look tight. And I'll pull this up here in a minute. We'll kind of look at that, because if it was dripping somewhere else where the lines got connected or something else on this thing, or leaking underneath the cartridge here was dripping out and all that kind of thing, you could fix it yourself. Put some putty dope underneath here, put the new one on, tighten it back up, and away you go. But see, because this one only had one nut, this base is kind of plasticky and tinny. There's nothing holding this one down to that hole, nothing holding that one down to that hole. In the old days, they used to have other prongs that fit down there, and then you have a big washer with a wing nut or another nut, and once you get this lined up, you tighten that down from underneath, and that held this tight. But as it was, this one little thing was holding the whole thing. Okay, I'll pull that up here in a second, but I wanted to show you how I get in and out of this. If you didn't believe that, I'm going to do that next, just to show you, hey, I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but you can still do it. Okay, and if you're bigger than me or something like that, you may have to disconnect, depending what it is, you may have to disconnect your adjustable P-trap to get that out, to have just a little bit more arm room or something like that. Okay, I'm going to show you that here next. Well, did I eat my Wheaties this morning or what? All right, I'll just show you how I do it. Got to get under here. Contort myself here, like that. That's it. Oh, and lucky for me, I could reach everything, and there were no rusty parts under there or anything like that. Make sure I've got a knee brace on, my back support brace on, my long sleeve shirt on, a couple mats to lean on, my glasses on, and that's just how you do it. Okay, I guess you can see that. You're just going to kind of be looking over my shoulder here. I'm gonna pull this up, and see, there was nothing connecting those two, and now I can pull that through there. Look at that. Now let's see here. Pull these up one at a time. There. Look at that. That's how you're gonna pull that out. Now, faucets in the old days, of course, they don't have all this. Of course, there's other things that are underneath there. Of course, I can't show you that because this is a newer model 20-year-old faucet as opposed to a 30, 40-year-old faucet. There's other things going on with that, and I've got stuff like that on my YouTube channel. Go to my main YouTube channel page, click on playlists, and scroll down to plumbing. That's all you gotta do. And you'll see me disconnect a couple old faucets and show you different things about that, okay? And you see this has a rubber gasket under it. And just over time, I'm looking at this. This looks pretty straight, but I can see it's lifted just ever so slightly. And if I wanted to, I could clean this all up. I could wipe this all down, okay? And I could probably put this back together with plumber's putty and let it stick up, and then smush it down there, tighten this up, rearrange that. Worst case scenario, I mean, you could put caulking, white silicone caulking all the way around this, and it'll still work. And you know what, my cousin, they'll be back here pretty soon, and if not, I could always text her and ask her and just tell her, hey, this faucet wasn't actually leaking from the cartridge, from the handle, from the connections. It was leaking. It's just when you turn the water on and you get water on the counter and stuff, it was leaking around this. Now, actually, I don't 100% know. I should have ran it longer when I had it. Because maybe the cartridge under here was in fact leaking and maybe just dribbling on here and then coming out. She did say she saw some water on the floor underneath the sink, and that's because the water accumulated around this outside edge, not necessarily the middle hole where all this stuff comes through, but maybe as she's washing, rinsing off the sink, water could have came in from underneath. This gasket it's flattened down, and you could get a new gasket for that. You'd have to special order it, have it stick down further so that would help hold it down and push it down as you're tightening this middle. And maybe it wouldn't leak again. But I should have maybe ran it a little bit more, wiped this up, ran it for 3 or 4 minutes to see if any water was coming out, accumulating from underneath it, thereby telling me that the cartridge in here could have been leaking from the base or something. Just drip, 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 or one drip every 15 seconds. Water accumulating here and then coming across this way and down. The chances are they're going to tell me, hey, let's just go ahead and replace it. But I'm telling you all these things in case you don't have the money to replace your sink faucet. Your sink faucet still looks to be in good shape even though it's 15, 20 years old. And everything still seems to be working on it properly. And it looks nice and sturdy. You could try that. Clean this all up, dry that out, dry this out. Even if you can't get a new gasket, you could get some gasket material and take this to the store, get a longer piece, cut it to fit. And like I say, you could put silicone, white silicone underneath here. See, this has grooves in it. The silicone's going to go under here. You'd have to put enough to have this spooge up and then spooge out so that you could then wipe it and then put a nice little bead all the way around it. You could do something like that. Chances are it's never going to leak. But if it's dripping from inside, instead of leaking on the outside, it's going to leak through your hole. You see what I mean? And it's going to drip down on top of your cabinet shelf down there at the bottom. My thought is they're going to tell me, no, just go ahead and replace the other one. I'm sure that's what they're going to do, but I'm giving you options for you to check things out on your own. Okay, so before anything, I'm gonna wipe this all off. I've got some old scouring pads, and I'll clean all that up good. I've got a bucket, and I'll use some water and stuff. Get this all nice and clean, nice and dry, And then when I undid the hot and cold water lines under here, I got a little bit of drips of water there. I'm going to wipe that all up. I'll kind of clean this up a little bit before I dive in to the new one. Okay, stick around, more to learn. All right, that looks pretty good, but when that's not clean enough, I'm gonna just take my simple green, spray on there, and do a little bit more. And if I don't get it all up, I could use a little razor blade carefully so I don't scratch things up. Okay, maybe possibly some steel wool. I don't know about steel wool. I'm gonna spray that on there. I'm gonna let that sit just a little bit and see if I can't. Yeah, see if I can't get that cleaner. I'll get my little razor blade out. I don't. All I do is I take my sheetrock knife and take a blade out, and then just easy do this kind of business to it. Okay, I want to get that nice and clean, nice and dry. If the other base is slightly different, I don't want to see any of the edge, surrounding edge. Oh yeah, there's a little mark, there's a little mark, there's a little mark. Didn't VideoJoe do a good job? Oh yeah, I'm never going to have him do any work for me. Do it right. Okay, I got it pretty clean. And I used some Bonami too. Bonami and a scouring pad. I just use a crummy old one. Don't use the one at your sink, okay? Or throw it away afterwards and get a new one and save one for underneath the sink. And I wiped all that down, cleaned it all up, and then got some fresh water, cleaned it, rinsed it out again, wiped underneath there. I'm just showing you the different things that I would do. I'd do the same thing if this was my sink, my kitchen, my faucet, okay? And I'm just showing you step by step, all right? Oh, here's one thing I forgot to mention. See, I took this, I used this as my razor blade, and it actually looked, it marked up the porcelain sink. I don't know how that could happen, but if you're going to use something like that or a small little razor blade, check it in an inconspicuous spot first. Don't start scraping on the outside edge and then finding out, oh my gosh, now I've got some marks on here. How am I going to cover those marks up? I could probably get that out with a pumice stone, but I'm not going to worry about it because it's on the inside. The ring fits way out here, okay? So just be mindful of that. Well, that's how to remove a kitchen faucet. That's all I got for this time, but I'll be back with more videos. And here's the thing I want you to know. If, let's say, I hope that I showed you enough information there to get you to where you feel comfortable in removing your kitchen faucet. Now, like I said, not all kitchen faucets are going to remove that easy. Okay, but if you got the know-how and the wherewithal to think that you can do this, okay, maybe you don't feel comfortable installing the faucet. Maybe you just feel like, hey, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to get the faucet that I want. Then I'm going to call a plumber, have the plumber come out. All he's got to do is replace or install the faucet that I want right here or something like that. Maybe you can save some money that way. Okay? Just different things to think about. But I think if you've gone this far, trust me, sometimes it's easier to install the faucet than it is to remove the old one, depending how much time and effort and all that kind of stuff, because the more things you touch underneath a sink that's maybe 40 years old, everything you seem to touch seems to break, seems to need to be fixed and all that. And then you've opened up another can of worms. Okay? And these things, like I say, they go in pretty easy, and most of them nowadays, oh look, scan or code for instructions. You scan that. I don't know if there's, I think they also give an instruction sheet underneath. Well, we'll just have to see. And sometimes they'll come with a video of their own or whatever. But I think if you can take one out, you can install a new one. So check that out and stick around to see me install this new faucet on this kitchen sink. Okay, see you next time.